Now just windy
are either expiring or being canceled, so all sounds pretty good until you take a look at the map and see what's out there. Let's show you where our storm is. You can see it right down the eastern seaboard here. It's been slowly edging off the coast. The cold air is wasting no time coming in behind it. Afternoon temperatures were well into the 80s. Now they're in the 60s in Florida. In Asheville, it's 39 degrees with a wind chill of 23. So I'll tell you, get ready for winter. It looks like it's headed your way. Here is a look at our tornado watches. Now, as soon as we get our new severe thunderstorm watch in graphically, we'll show it to you. But let's go on and show you the Doppler and the damage reports. This is what we have so far. You can see a few red triangles. That indicates where tornadoes have been confirmed for today. And blue dots indicate wind or hail damage. And we have had a number of reports of wind and hail damage. Wind damage there was wind damage that caused the problems in the Broome County in New York to a greenhouse at the Walmart. And look at all of this rain. That's been the other big problem, really. You can see right through this zone, that's where the heaviest rain has been. And it's updating as we watch it here with adding the yellow, and that's up to about 3.5, almost 4 inches of rain in some locations. So in Tioga County, flood warnings remain in effect for all of these counties in New York. From about the Elmira, Binghamton area up through Oswego County, flood warnings are in effect, and they are still getting rain, and we'll see that on the latest radar. Here it is. Boy, it's been covered with green all day long. It's just a matter of it being going light green, light rain, to the darker green, just kind of coming in waves. We have had reports, again, up to 3 inches, another 1, 2, 3 inches possible before the storm moves out, and then we'll start talking about snow. So expect some problems through there. In eastern Pennsylvania, we had tornado warnings earlier. You'll notice here that most of the severe weather is gone, and this is where we're getting our strongest thunderstorms, right through this area. It has bypassed Baltimore and Washington, D.C., and now just really some light rain in the area. The flood warnings have expired. Watch out for this line of thunderstorms. Dover, that's headed your way. Salisbury, you might just get clipped by this one as well. Fast-moving thunderstorms, wind damage probably our biggest threat at this point, and then an extended period of rain before temperatures start dropping off like a rock, and we really will see that. Farther to the south, Raleigh, you're in fine shape, just a little bit more rain, and we're finished. Here's your line of thunderstorms, well east of Interstate 95, so if you're traveling on that this evening, you shouldn't have a problem. Outer Banks will continue to see scattered thunderstorms. Again, our main line is just ahead of the heavier rain. It's right through here, and it really isn't moving to the east very quickly, so it may take a few more hours. You're in fine shape in South Carolina and in Georgia. As far as the thunderstorms go, I hope you're ready for a cold night and a blustery cold Saturday. You can see this big batch of thunderstorms. Well, it's well off the coast, so as long as you're not on a boat, you're in pretty good shape around Daytona. A few scattered thunderstorms, and now all the way down toward Lake Okeechobee and down around the Naples area. We did get one report of a tornado touchdown in Pinellas County early in the day, about 1 o'clock. Otherwise, very few reports of severe weather out of Florida. And as you can see from that radar, it doesn't look like a bad evening. Actually, just a few scattered thunder showers. Watch out for heavy rain and, of course, the threat of lightning. And then get ready for the cold. We will have cold air and some snow in the forecast. Declan has the details on that.
That's right, Jill. Cold air over parts of the Northeast by the end of the weekend. But first, we have to get through lots of wind, warm air, and rain. For Denver, warm air indeed today, a high of 58. Now, these are scenes from yesterday when it was much cooler. The official high yesterday only 48 degrees, so we bested that today by 10 degrees. Folks are out enjoying it anyway yesterday at the celebration at the local zoo. But as I mentioned, a much nicer day today. Now, get this, 15 degrees. 15. That was a low this morning in Denver. The high 58, so we had a temperature spread today of 43 degrees. Hallelujah. Thank goodness for dry air. You know, you get this incredibly dry air and it can cool off rapidly at sunset, but just on the other side of the coin, it can warm up dramatically, and that's what we saw in Denver today. And we even had a lot of high clouds kind of skirting on down from Wyoming during the course of the afternoon, but these are just high clouds. They're far enough up there so that all they do is filter the sun occasionally as they're trucking on through. I want to show you the moisture imagery off the west coast, a huge ridge of high pressure, and when they get this strong and this far to the north, we usually end up with a big trough back east, and that's certainly what we've had over the last 24 hours. That big trough represented with our jet stream pushing down into North Florida tonight, turning the corner and then running parallel to that surface cold front. So we have one of those slow-moving cold fronts pushing through Pennsylvania and into New England. If you live in Boston and Providence, up to Portland, Maine, the brunt of the storm yet to arrive. That will arrive as we get into Saturday itself. Saturday will be a very wet day over parts of the Northeast. And we're even getting indications that some moisture from the Caribbean is actually getting pulled into the front side of this front this evening, and eventually that could mean some exceptionally heavy rain for parts of New England tomorrow. So stay tuned for the additional threat of high water, flooding as we head through tonight and tomorrow in the Northeast. As the front moves farther east and our cold air supply starts to become a little bit more dominant in the lakes, look for the lake effect snow to set up, first here in the UP or the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, then in northwest lower Michigan, and then tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night and into Sunday, downwind of the eastern lakes, both Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. We should see some locally heavy lake effect snow squalls. So what a wild weekend. We start out with flooding, rain, warm air, and then we end it with snow squalls coming in off the lake. My goodness. Here's your high pressure pushing into the south. Now, unlike last time when we had a fairly short period of cool air in the deep south in Florida, this one will last much longer than the last episode. Here's our 3 to maybe as much as 5-inch rainfall expectations tonight in eastern Pennsylvania. Look out in Delaware with those strong thunderstorms coming at you from the west in the next 2 to 3 hours. The highs tomorrow, you can see plenty of that cold air coming in. And what we see happening is not only the jet stream going way down to the south, the upper air pattern changing dramatically, but then we'll have several surges, kind of reinforcements of the cooler air coming from Canada down to Florida in the next 3 to 5 days. So just about the time when the air may want to start getting a little bit warmer, there'll be another surge of cooler air that'll come down and kind of reinforce that. So that's why we're going with this idea that we're going to have a fairly prolonged period where both the overnight lows and the daytime highs will be considerably below normal. Southeast and, as I mentioned, parts of Florida. The southwest 70s for highs, even some 80s and 90s showing up in Southern California, and that pretty much takes us into the beginning of the new week. You'll notice one change. We are pushing a lot of warm air out into the western high plains from Sunday into Monday. 70s, so from San Antonio west to Dallas, heading all the way up into the plains in Montana. But here's our cool air still dipping pretty far to the south. 30s for highs. Detroit, Chicago, heading over to Buffalo and Elmira. It looks like a pretty cool start to the week for you. Now, as far as precipitation, nothing too big shaking out of the clouds in the west. The winds will kick up periodically for the next several days, including parts of Southern California. A few showers mainly along the northwest coast on Sunday. And then as we get into the new week, Monday, some wind in the northern plains, a little bit more rain and snow in the west. This will push in a little bit farther to the east. Could be a little breezy in Florida with another surge of cooler air coming in from the north. And this could be a little interesting. Right now, a little disagreement as to whether or not there'll actually be a low pressure system forming somewhere off the mid-Atlantic or the New England corridor. If it's close enough, the snow that we have depicted here could be significant over the interior. If the actual area of low pressure is far enough off the coast, it could be a lot more cloud cover as opposed to significant snow or rain. But we have at least another 24 hours to fine-tune it for you. Stay tuned. We're heading to Europe in a moment.
Minolta Official on the 8s on the Weather Channel.